Let's watch something fun and talk about it. If you ever wondered why is the Israeli Air Force such a bad Tusik, well, this is the reason. It didn't start today. It goes way back.
October 20th, 1973. Fiora Epstein is alone in the sky with 11 Egyptian MiG-21s. He's been chasing one for 5 minutes. As the turning MiG bleeds off energy, the chase has been driven lower and lower.
All the time, he maneuvered so hard that he lost speed and height.
17 kills. We're not talking about humans. We're talking about fighter
down
jets.
about 3,000 feet. And that crazy Egyptian pilot started doing the craziest thing of all this maneuver, and that's a split S at 3,000 feet.
The Egyptian is desperate. He'll attempt a diving reversal called a split S. It's supposed to take 6,500 feet to do this maneuver in a MiG-21. Epstein can't believe his eyes as the MiG rolls inverted and pulls down.
And I didn't go after him because I think it's too low, and I think he will crash.
He waits for the fireball.
I don't know how, but he went out with clouds of dust.
And he thought that's it, it crashed. Split seconds after that, he sees that MiG-21 raising up like a rocket.
Imagine watching
The
this
Egyptian
fight from
has
the
pulled
ground.
off an amazing aerobatic feat, subjecting both himself and his airplane to crushing acceleration forces.
Being some of the soldiers on the
He
ground.
did things that it's hard to believe that MiG-21 can do.
But the Egyptian pilot, for all his heroic efforts, has run out of energy and options. The throttle is firewalled. 16,000 pounds of thrust shriek in angry protest against the heavy pull of the desert floor. Epstein is waiting. The MiG is dispatched with a short burst. A quick look over his shoulder.
Sucks for him.
Another MiG closing on his tail. 9 more circling, all intent on blowing him out of the sky.
That's when things got really crazy.
Epstein is enveloped by 5 pairs of MiG-21s. Each pair will take a crack at the lone Israeli. As soon as 2 MiG-21s complete a pass, another pair is ready to engage.
They're fighting it like Chuck Norris style.
I was
circling
on the
around.
defense all the time, but from time to time, I have the opportunity to do things.
Epstein's epic 1 versus 10 fight begins with the first pair of MiGs on his 6 o'clock. The leader firing wildly. Epstein will brake hard left, forcing the MiGs to overshoot. But his delta wing Nesher will lose energy in a sustained turn, making him vulnerable to attack. Epstein throws the stick over. Then levels his wings. It's called unloading, or decreasing the centrifugal G-forces that deplete energy.
So immediately, you level the aeroplane and try to gain as much speed as you can until the other pair come after you. If you continue to turn after you brake, then you lost all your speed. And then somebody else can come from the outside and kill you.
No sooner does he level the wings than he sees 2 other MiGs directly off his nose.
Suddenly I see flashes in front of me, and I see 2 MiG-21s launch missile against me head-on.
The missiles have no chance of arming or detonating from the forward quarter, but just the impact would be fatal. All Epstein can do is duck.
Crazy.
The missiles and MiGs pass right over his canopy. Suddenly, another pair of MiGs moves in from behind.
The fact is, and which is lucky thing, is that on your 6 o'clock, there is a place for only one aeroplane. So they can be 20 or 100 or 1,000. Behind you can be only one aeroplane. Only those who are behind you can kill you.
This time, Epstein has a precious few seconds to go on the offense. He'll bank sharply, pop the brakes, lift the nose, and barrel roll smoothly onto the trailing MiG 6 o'clock. In a brilliant display of aerial dexterity, he's turned the tables on the MiGs.
Epstein was a master of managing energies. And he always knew what his potential energy is at every spot, and he calculated, he knew where he's going. I mean, that he was good at that.
A short burst of 30mm cannon fire. Then, a huge fireball.
This is modern day fighter jets.
Epstein immediately levels his wings, preparing for the next encounter. The last pair of MiGs move in for the kill. Epstein will sense when the MiGs are about to fire, then brake hard at the last moment, forcing an overshoot. Then he will reverse sharply, bringing his guns to bear.
Imagine how demoralizing this for the enemy is.
Epstein brakes. The MiGs flash by, then try bugging out by pulling into a steep climb. Exactly as planned, Epstein reverses sharply, levels, gains some speed, then climbs in pursuit. He lines up the rear of the pair in his gun sight.
I shoot the number 2, and it hit him in the cockpit. There was no explosion and no smoke, nothing, and it just went all the way down to the ground.
The other MiG continues to run.
They're running now. Run away.
Epstein brings his nose to bear and acquires good tone from his remaining heat-seeking missile.
I launched my second missile, which unfortunately went like a bidon.
The missile falls away from the underwing pylon. Epstein has the cannon ammunition, but not enough fuel for a chase. It would have been his 5th kill for the day.
I was cocky enough to ask the controller if there is any more targets for me. So he told me no.
He was on fire.
Epstein
He
returns
was
to his
rolling.
base, a forward outpost in the Sinai Desert. After shutting down the engine, he has to be lifted out of the cockpit.
My legs shaking, and there is no, because it was nearly 10 minutes of very, very intensive thing.
10 adrenaline-pumping minutes of dodging and weaving, rolling and reversing, pulling maximum positive and negative G.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, why Israel have the best Air Force in the world. These are the founders of the Israeli Air Force today, the pilots that went and did the strike in Iran They all learned from people like him. These were their teachers, their role models. The level of experience that the Israeli Air Force have is its real treasure. Not only the quality, by the way, when I joined the army, I passed all the exams to become a fighter pilot. So I was supposed to go to the program to become a fighter pilot, but then I was young and stupid, and instead of flying airplanes, I wanted to jump out of airplanes, and I went and joined the special forces. But one thing I saw, they do take the best of the best. They take, because that's the cool thing about the IDF. You can literally pick from all aspects of society and handpick the smartest, the fastest, the most courageous, and the most humble, the ones that have critical thinking, the one that can do split. I mean, literally physically fit, mentally fit, characteristically fit, and bring them and then filter them through that training, that process, and then get the best pilot you can get. And later on, add to that the level of experience that other pilots bring. I mean, imagine now the younger generation is going to learn from the ones who did the attack in Iran right now, unheard of, or they did the attack in Syria right before, where they basically destroyed the entire Syrian army in 2 days. So the level of experience that an Israeli Air Force, with their officers and their pilots, can bring to the table, combined with the quality of the pilots that they have that Israel can produce, is just unmatched. Unmatched, and I don't think you can find this anywhere. With all due respect, I mean, I've been in the United States, and I've been in Germany with American military Air Force bases, Army bases, and I've met a lot of their pilots, very impressive people, most of them. Some of them, if they would have joined the IDF, honestly, would have probably not even ended up being a Humvee driver. Not joking, not joking. Not necessarily from skill. They were probably skilled pilots, but more from the characteristic morality and values that they had. Like some of the people there that I met, I was just really shocked by relatively low level of values compared to the Israeli pilots that I've met. And again, no disrespect, I think I hold in the highest regards the American forces, but they just have a much bigger army, and they can't really handpick and choose like Israel can. So that kind of makes it a little bit harder to filter. You gotta take what you have sometimes, and sometimes you might get a really good ace, but he might just be a complete douche. In Israel, it's a little bit harder because they have a much better psychological filtering system, and I've went through it, so I've seen it. Some people just dropped out of the training to become fighter pilots just because they were a-holes. In case you don't understand what you just saw, these kind of dogfights is something that is so rare, and it's getting even more and more rare. The chances in modern warfare to have fighter jets fighting like that, dogfighting in the air, is so slim, if not even almost impossible. And it's just gonna get more and more rare in the future because today's technology, most, advanced fighter jets can literally fry their enemies before even seeing them, either by shooting a missile at them before they're even seen and detected, or some of them just have such a strong radar that they can literally fry the radars of the enemy fighter jets and make them useless before even engaging in battle. So the chances of them coming and fighting like that and chasing each other over the desert and maneuvering in the valleys and the canyons, Star Wars style, is literally almost impossible. And that bad Tusik pilot got the opportunity to do it and take so many of these enemies down. Just imagine if you were one of the IDF or the Egyptian fighters, you're fighting in the trenches in the Sinai desert, and then you look up and you see this Israeli fighter jet flying, and you see these 11 MiGs just chasing him, and the Egyptians like, yeah, and the Israeli like, oh my God, no. And then you look around how this one hell of a pilot just goes and takes them down one by one, and the Egyptians were probably looking up and thinking, oh my God. Talking about demoralization, talking about making you feel like you're on the wrong side. I mean, some people became very, very devoted. There was a lot of people that went back to God after the Kippur War, because some of them just couldn't explain how the heck was Israel capable of being so brave, so strong, in the face of so many enemies that had better technology, way more numbers, and a much more experienced armies compared to Israel, who just became a nation, basically. But they couldn't just explain it. And many people after that came and said this, if God wasn't with us, we would have never won this battle. But regardless, we saw right now one heck of an Air Force performance that is going to be written in the books of history. And yeah, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to do the like, share, subscribe. Go and check my Patreon. Great deals there where you can come and support my work. But until then, don't do anything stupid. In general, yeah, just don't mess with the Israeli Air Force. See you next time.